Hello, this is Snake from Voivod, and you're listening to Agoraphobic News. Yeah.
Hello, Snake. How are you, sir?
Well, I'm good, considering all what's happening now. But yeah, I guess we have to hang in here. Um, it's a kind of a weird situation, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, how do you cope with the virus?
Well, I try not to really think about it, but it's obviously everywhere. It's a bit scary, I have to admit. Um, right now, the situation, well, the whatever prediction or are not really great. I mean, it's it's dark a little bit. I have, but yeah, we have no choice to to stay home and be focused, I guess, on different things than we used to sometimes. So it's a good thing in a sense, you know. I mean, uh, it's a good thing for the planet, that's for sure. For nature, for you know.
Yeah. And are you being creative, during these pandemic days?
I've been creative, but it's always a matter of having to focus on something while you always have like this thing in the back of your head, you know. It's like worries and stuff like that. It's a bit confusing. It's like it's hard to focus on something for a while and not thinking about what's happening.
Yeah.
And but yeah, me and the boys in contact every day. You know, we do stuff, exchange whatever riffs and ideas and stuff like that. Um, but I mean, it's really bad that we can't even get together in a place to play and rehearse or anything. It's just completely crazy, and it's something that we're not used to, but we can cope with in a sense.
Yeah.
Because usually that's what we do in normal life, you know. I mean, we exchange ideas via internet, and then, but once in a while, we go in our rehearsal place and we experience what we have in mind together. And now we cannot do it, and it's missing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And Away told me that you have a new live album coming out and that you guys are working on a new album. So, can you tell me something about this new stuff that's coming out from the Voivod universe?
Uh, yeah, I can't wait to release it. It's been, it's live stuff and picking up in different places, different shows, and um, I hope you know with a performance live. It's always something. Uh, how can I say? You're too much into the little details and stuff like that. It's like, ooh, I know. But in a sense, it's cool, you know, because it's live, and there's live is live. There's nothing you can do about it, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a fun thing, and we might have something to release as a video soon. So hang in there. Something really special, but I don't want to talk too much about it right now.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, it's all. we figured out to keep ourselves busy basically during this time. I don't know how long this is gonna this is gonna be. It's just like it could be a long run, you know, and so that is scary. That is scary. It's scary for the live performances, the concert, the touring, um, everything that goes around it. I mean, the labels, the booking agencies, everybody is gonna suffer from it.
Yeah, especially the musicians, I think, because there will be no touring, and that's like the worst nightmare a musician can have these days, because I guess that's the most of the revenue comes from the touring, right?
Yeah, basically it's a one big source of revenue, you know, because you know, at least you can sell merchandise. You have a lot of expense, but you make a little something there. And but I mean, the whole structure of live concert might change over the years or over the few months. I don't know. It's just even the transportation would be maybe different from now on, you know, because I don't think even if we have like a vaccine or it's not going to go away fast. And by the time this whole structure gets back together, I'm afraid it's going to take a long time. And that's really sucks. Really. It's just, um,
Yeah.
and I'm thinking about not only the bands, but, you know, everybody that works around it, you know, the whole structures of festivals and magazine and metal and whatever. It's just it's really sad, you know. And but I just want to keep hope, you know. And it's the only thing you can do. It's just, but it's crazy how devastating that thing is, and not only in the entertainment aspect, you know, life's it's devastating in every aspect of it, and so
Yeah.
it's
And is it this COVID thing going to inspire you to write some lyrics?
well, it's funny to say that, but when I wrote the lyrics for the Wake, basically it was not the same scenario, but some kind of look-alike scenario, and something that's going to change, uh, you know, the life of everyone forever. And basically, songs like "Obsolete Being" and "Orb Confusion." When you look at what's going on the media and the fake news and everything, it's like it's exactly what I wrote a year ago or 2 years ago, and it gets to a poor proportion of you know, you don't know what to believe anymore. You know, who tells the truth, who's wrong, who's fake, who's this and that, and orb confusion is when you look at the lyrics, it's almost like what's happening right now. And you know, songs like "Obsolete Beings," you know, words that goes like "You live alone, I live," you know,
Yeah.
you live alone, cast away and insecure, blah blah blah. And it's just what's happening right now, and it's like
I mean,
now I'm thinking about what's going to happen after, and how the world will run, maybe in a different way, and I hope for the best, for the better, you know.
yeah.
Just maybe there will be a lot of changes, and everybody, I think, will realize that, you know, we're small in a sense, you know, we're really small, and we're just part of this planet, and I think if we abuse of it too much, you know, it's no good. And because I always say to myself, in a sense, that this is crazy, you know. I always said the way we treat nature, the way we pollute, the way we expand, the way we're, you know, I don't know. I mean, we're on this planet and it's still growing and it's growing and it grows and it grows, and then to figure out, I always thought that how long this is gonna take, you know, how long do we have to live like this? It's the whole thing's gonna fucking, I don't know. It's something's gonna happen,
Yeah.
and and now it's happening, and it's like wow, you know, and something that maybe I was not um, thinking that this is gonna be on my lifetime, but it's actually happening right now, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's certainly inspiring for what we're living now, what we're living through it, and what's gonna be the future. That's basically
And
the main inspiration for that.
yeah, absolutely. And I got like 24 questions from the fans. I mean, it's really crazy what the response was for the interview. So can
Yeah,
we
yeah.
start with these questions from the fans? So this thrash metal family guy asks, when was the last time you saw Piggy alive?
The last time I saw him alive was at the hospital 2 days before he left, and yeah, it was really really sad to see him in a bedroom, and you know, but he was kind of like I think at that point he had accepted, you know, he had accepted, and I remember when I said, "Oh, I'm gonna come tomorrow or the next day," and he went like thumbs up and looked at me and was like, "Yeah." That was it. That's the last image I have of him making the thumbs up, and so
And that's really sad. I mean, the way. I mean, he was really young when he died. I mean, it's such a shame. And
yeah.
this Metal Riot guy asks, what was it like opening for Rush back in 1990 and working with Terry Brown on Angel
Oh,
Rot?
opening for Rush was amazing. I mean, it was like a dream come true for us. But we were really nervous. Just opening for Russ, you know, you set up the level to um, a certain degree. It's like, and there was some bands that actually got booed before, you know, opening for Rush, you know, so we were really scared of getting booed. But actually, we did pretty good. We did our stuff, and it went really well. I mean, the first gig was in Quebec City, I think, uh, and we played with in Montreal the next day, and there was like 2 days in Toronto after that. So we played 4 shows together. I remember the first show. We came back after in the dressing room. It was like a big bottle of champagne and all signed by the guys, and I was like, "Oh my god, you know, this is crazy." Welcome to the shows, guys. Really nice people. Really like they treat us like gentlemen, and it was
Awesome.
fantastic. It was like really one of the top thing, the highlights of my career, I would say. Because it was such a well, we're fans in the first place, that's for sure. Just just being in the surrounding, looking at them doing the sound check. I have, I remember like Neil Peart setting a different kind of resetting, different kind of piece of his drum kit, and it was like, my God, we're in heaven here. Yeah, good souvenir.
Amazing.
And Terry Brown was so cool working with him. He's really kind of have like I would say like a hippie attitude, but in a cool way. It's just he's a really focused guy. He takes his time to do things right, and the result is there. So I was really happy to work with him.
Yeah, awesome. And this Alexander Zoglichev asks, did Rush give you their opinion on your music and shows during this tour? Did you keep contact with them after that?
Not really. I mean, I think they appreciate what we were doing. I don't know how far they knew us, back in the days. But I know that lately, apparently, not so long ago, I think it was when we won the Juno Award last year, that Geddy Lee said Voivod is amazing. So, so I was quite flattered by that. But back in the days, I don't know how much they knew about us. It's just that, but I think they were pleased with what we pulled out for these 4 shows. But we were like I said, we were in heaven, and we were so shy too. We didn't want to disturb, or we were like taking the less space as possible, and it was but it was fun. I was really flattered, really honored to do those shows, and yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And Mathieu Thirault asks, your singing style is and has always been quite unique. In the War and Pain era, which artists, if any, were your main influences in?
Oof, there's, back in War and Pain, I would say I didn't know exactly what I was doing. It's just, I just kind of expressed myself, and but of course, I was listening to metal in general. I mean, the Iron Maiden and Judas Priest, and but I like punk as well, like the Pistols and GBH and all these stuff, and but I kind of like I was trying to get some sort of like my own thing, I was, and I didn't know really what I was doing. Like I said, I was like experimenting more than anything else. I never had any courses or any lessons to sing. I kind of like jump in the wagon, and I was really young too, so I just did what I thought was good, and so it was really kind of I was really naive about all about everything, and so, but I think it created that sort of original, whatever you want to call it. There's something special about it. But for me, it's hard to say exactly what it was, So I just kind of expressed myself with a microphone, and I was like, but it was fun. I remember all the people, like, and, but yeah, it's good souvenir. And when I look at back at it now. It's cool.
And this guy Igor Kuzmanovic asks, ask him about his punk rock influences, about music similarities with Descendants slash All, and what's his opinion on that.
I think well, what I really like when I start singing is like well, especially with this band Voivod. I think the tree tone of Piggy. It was really complex music, and but I like the punk edge, like Johnny Rotten from the Sex Pistols, because he was like sometimes he was singing that like not really on the note, you know, but I kind of liked it, and that's why that's why it makes him different and famous, I guess. And but it's like playing with the notes itself, not exactly what it's supposed to be, and working with Piggy was difficult. Was really difficult sometimes because he had like a complex structures, and I had to fit the words into that frame, whatever. And but the three tones it was pulling kind of developed myself in a different way than if it would have been different, like the regular tuning or the regular whatever playing. PD has his own way of putting things together, and I think by the fact that I was with him, kind of like put me into this kind of weird vein there, weird branches to create my own thing and to be like a little off of things, and a little different than others, and just like different kind of expression or the tone on things, and it's really hard to explain, but it gives me something special that create my sound, while I was doing most of the with Voivod.
Yeah, I think it's because of these dissonant chords that he had. I mean, nobody played like this, back in the 80s. And that's
it suddenly gives a little twist there.
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and that's why Voivod sounds, I think, the way it is, it's twisted tone on three chords, ripping whatever with
Yeah.
the whole surrounding crazy whatever.
Excellent. And this Brian Kroll asks, do you get nervous before a show?
Yes. I think it's a good thing to be nervous. I think it's normal. It's just but I'm not like crazy nervous. I'm just like kind of looking forward to it. But sometimes it depends when you're on tour. Tour are exhausting. Sometimes you're kind of tired, and so you have to pump yourself to do the performance, and so it's not like really being nervous. It's more about being conscious that you have to deliver a performance, and even if you're tired, even if you're sick, even if you had bad food and you feel like food poisoning, you gotta hit the stage, bro, and there's no other way. So yeah, I'm nervous. It depends of the circumstances. Sometimes it's but I've never been like really crazy nervous, like oh my god, it's sometimes you have to mind yourself to do it, and don't like really being nervous.
Yeah. And this guy Matthew Phillips asks, what's your favorite Voivod album?
Oh, that's a tough one too, man. It's just I think it's hard to really pick one up because I think every album has something different, something that is related to the time and the circumstances during the band history, you know. So I think uh, I like killing technology for certain reason, but I like Dimension Hatross for other reason, as well as the last one, The Wake and Angel Rat, and everything has a different. Um, it's really hard to pinpoint one, but the last album, The Wake, for me was like something that took a long time to put together. I think we really put a lot of effort on that one, and something that I can be proud of really, and because of the amount of energy that we delivered on that record. But the other ones are good as well, because it reminds me when the band was in a certain position at a certain time and all the circumstances that happened to make that record sounds the way it sounds. And like, I don't know, like when we recorded in Berlin for 2 albums, recording in Berlin, I'm sure it gave something different to it. Not just because you're somewhere else, and it's like you get inspiration from a different surrounding and different vibe. So I think all the albums have something special in them. So
Yeah. And this Robert Leonardson asks, how can we get the Union Made album?
Oh my, Union Made. It's been a long time since since October. I can call the guy and ask them if they still have stuff. I do have a little bit of stuff that was recorded and but I don't know what to do with it. But yeah, maybe we're gonna do some kind of release, like a decent release of it someday.
Awesome. And Lon Levin asks, if you could pick one old punk song for Voivod to cover, which one would it be and why?
Buddy is from Sex Pistols.
Oh, and why?
Because it's a fucking great song.
Fair enough. And Olivier Derry asks, considering you hardly spoke any English at the beginning of your career, how did you write such elaborate lyrics? Do you have to credit some people in assisting you with all that language barriers at the time?
Well, depend on the albums I use. Especially on Nothingface, I had a collaborator, and also on Angel Rat. But it was mainly to sort of like give me some advice, or not advice really, but more into the culture of it, into the culture of English and expressions and twist and turns and whatever. But yeah, I have to credit that person for sure, Christy Matsuo, who worked on these 2 records, and she really helped me to kind of like say things a little different, put things together in a different way.
Awesome. And this Lazar Galant asks, is there another song in French on the way?
Well, we did one on the Target Earth called what is it called again? Yeah. Um, uh, okay, sorry. Yeah, we did one on Target Earth. If you so the question is like, is there going to be another one or?
In French.
Yeah. Maybe I don't know. It's tough to write stuff, and it's a hard language to sing.
Yeah.
It's not my I'm not used to it, so it's really hard for me to put words in French, and it's sometimes I feel like that doesn't feel natural or something. It's weird. It's really weird. But maybe eventually, it's not something that can be done to maybe on the next record. I don't know.
Yeah. And Steve Kraus asks, would the band ever consider doing an album or EP in French? There have been stories over the years where lyrics to many of the classic songs started out in French and were then translated. I'd love to hear more about that mystery.
You mean it started in French? What?
Yeah. He asks, are there some songs, classic songs that were written in French first, and then you had like to translate it into English?
In Voivod, you mean?
Yeah.
No. I never really translate stuff. I go from the start in English, and uh, it would be hard to do. Like it would be like if I really write in French, well, sometimes the idea comes in French, but or something like, but it's not even. I mean, it's never been really translated. It's just right in English.
Yeah. And this Alexander Zoglichev asks, do you have any frontman that influenced you when you were beginning? Or
Oh yes. I mean, there's Rob Alford is one of them. Johnny Rotten, Bruce Dickinson. I mean, Lemmy, of course.
Awesome.
I mean, it's not really a direct influence on exactly what I'm doing, but they certainly had an impact on me, and in a different ways. Could be lyrics, could be the voice. Well, Rob Alford has this special way of, when he was walking on stage and stuff like that, and everything has, like Johnny Rotten was the way he was screaming, and the attitude in general. It could be Lemmy too. He's more about his philosophy and lyrics and stuff like that, and his raunchy voice and the way his whole lifestyle or whatever. It's like, wow, it's Bruce Dickinson is unbelievable. Unbelievable. And so these people had a certain impact on me. I would not say like an influence as part of my singing, some of them, but I mean, it's just the impact on everything, on myself.
Yeah. And this Jakub Farin asks, since Voivod touring schedules are very tight, how do you stay well mentally and physically?
Well, I try to not go too crazy on booze and stuff. No, I mean it's when we're touring, we take it very seriously, um, and we try not to. We're focused on delivering delivering a performance, you know, and sometimes it's not easy, depending how you sleep or you slept last night, how the condition of the roads, you know, jet lag, all kind of stuff, you know. Uh, so we take it we take it really seriously, and we try to have you know, to stay in condition to deliver a show every night, and that's the only goal really. And so especially when you have like big stretches of shows in a row, you know, you got to be careful, you know, not going outside too much when it's cold. It's like hot and cold and hot and cold. It's like that ruins your voice and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, to manage yourself the best you can.
And he also asks, has touring changed over the years?
Well, it changed a lot. I think it's different. I wouldn't say that it really changed that much, but I mean, it's different because there's a lot of I mean, bands are not selling that much record these days, so they focus on touring to make a decent living, and so, but it's I would say it's harder, you know, in a sense, because the money sometimes is not there. Sometimes it's just like you have to work more for what than before, I think. But it's, you know, it's something that once you know it, you have to deal with it, and sometimes it happens that yeah, it's difficult. It's more difficult than it was like 10 years ago. That's for sure.
Yeah, and Stephen Cook asks, why didn't you play the Christmas on Earth at Leeds in 1989?
Christmas on Earth in
Leeds, in England.
oh, back in '88,
9, I think.
'89, we didn't have the right paper or permit to cross England, and it was like a mistake from because we were back in the days we were recording in Berlin, and we were leaving actually to go to Leeds, and the paperwork was not done properly because we were traveling with Creator on the same bus, and Creator went through. You know, they didn't need any permit, but because we're Canadian, we had to have a permit, and somebody forget about it and forgot about it, or I don't know what went wrong paper-wise, but we didn't have, and so we got refused. But our shirts were in the bus. We got there and we sold all the shirts.
Awesome. Amazing. And Rick Weiss asks, what the hell was that on his face at the end of the Psychic Vacuum video? But
What face?
yeah, but I don't. I watched the video and I didn't get the question.
I think it's mud. Did I like mud? Mud.
Maybe
I,
I didn't see it.
I think it's mud. Yeah, the last scene was like kind of messy, but
Amazing. Um, L. Jordan asks, do you ever think about hiring a keyboardist as a fifth member of the band?
no.
Hell yeah. I'm glad to hear that. And Steve Kraus asks, will the self-titled album be available on streaming sites like Spotify or Apple Music?
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea. I really don't know.
And
Uh,
whatever that hurts asks, can you play more songs from the Angel Rat album live? On
yes, we
concerts?
can. Uh, eventually, maybe we're gonna do a tour more, but it was more about maybe doing like uh, shows like Nothingface album or Angel Rat album, you know, like full album, something that we did with Dimension Hatross in the Roadburn Festival in 2012. We did the whole album of Dimension Hatross. That's something we can do at like maybe like a special event, maybe not touring, but I would certainly try to do something like a special event that, you know, you play the whole album, depending, no matter, you
Yeah,
know, could be in face, could be Angel Rat, could be,
that's
yeah.
awesome. And Sympathetic B asks, are you likely to have the performance of the End of Dormancy with the Copper Quintet at the next live album?
I cannot talk about it.
Okay. And
We'll see.
Dr. Trash asks, what's up, Snake? I was wondering if you got a collection of lyrics that were never put to any music over the years. If so, do you even pull from that when you're out of ideas? Or is every song brand new, fresh lyrics? Hope you're well, Alisa.
I do have a bunch of well, I mean, it's pages and pages of different stuff. You know, it's like stuff that I write automatically, and sometimes there's part of this that it's gonna end up in somewhere. So it's a bit like the bottom missing sequences. And, so yeah, sometimes it happens that I go through that and pick up some ideas there, but I always, when I figure a song, it's brand new in my mind, you know. But sometimes I go deeply into other stuff that I wrote before, or because a good line is a good line, and if it's not used and it's could be used, and it's useful, you know. So I kept I'm keeping everything
Yeah,
always.
awesome. I wanted to ask you about the D-V-O-D-2. You know, are you guys going to release that someday or not?
Yeah, we're gonna put together footage. We're still putting footage together. Um, that we're still working on it actually, but yeah, eventually,
And
eventually,
do you
like
maybe
more.
have a release date for that?
What?
Do you maybe have a release date for that DVD?
No, no, no. We're still in compiling footage because the more now we have some pretty good footage of different shows, and so we want to add it to it, different other stuff too. So, but eventually, yeah.
Awesome. And can you tell me something about this whole Voivod concept? You know, that you have like 7 chapters with this completely crazy story about this nuclear vampire. So, can you go in details about that?
Well, Voivod is it's a strange kind of fantastic world, I would say, you know, and basically was inspired by images of, you know, even like different kind of like cartoon type thing, but really gore, you know, and like extreme and gore, and um, basically that's where it's based. And as a character, you know, Voivod is a sort of like post-nuclear vampire and soldier, or you know, a leader, but really kind of like a, you know, something like a from a post-nuclear catastrophe or whatever. And, we created that sort of image, and so as we were creating, especially with Michelle and me and the lyrics, we were like trying to get a little story behind it, you know. And so every album has a sort of like episode. We see it as an episode of the Voivod, basically. And so
Yeah.
it's been something that we build a story around it, you know. It's just it's a sort of like a creator or a character like Eddie from Iron Maiden. You know, it's not necessarily related to Eddie, but Eddie is it's a figure, it's a character, so it's their image. So
Yeah, absolutely.
it's the same thing for Voivod.
And can you explain what's going on the first 5 chapters?
My, you know, war and pain and roar and killing technology. It's a post-nuclear creature that always want to survive, and the only thing it can do is making everything to survive. And war was like this building up machines and building up weapons. Killing technology was more sophisticated, and Dimension Hatross was completely into some sort of another dimension, as it's a constant evolution. Um, and so Nothingface, you know, kind of disappear in a spiritual or whatever. He kind of died, but it's still there as an entity, and so it's always a sort of a evolution that allows us to create different stories.
Yeah. And was the Dimension Hatross an album that had like a full-on story? You know, with these 8. I mean, each song was a chapter of its own, kind of.
Yeah, and it was a link in between each song. Um, it was like a sort of a oppressive world, you know. Dimension Hatross was, I would say, maybe it was because we were in Berlin, but back in the days, the wall was still there, and we had all these ideas of, you know, like a troop of soldier or warriors get together and against a big government. And it was like, and as we were like walking in the city, we could hear like the helicopter above our heads and the wall, and it was like, it was the perfect scenario for to get into that vibe, you know, and kind of oppression. And so we decided to get the story to have like a link from one song to another, with little intros and different stuff that once you put your headphones on and from the first song it goes and you let yourself go in a story. You know?
Yeah, and is it true that this music lab studio was near Checkpoint Charlie?
Yeah, it was like so close to it. Yeah, absolutely. We went to one time in the subway station to go to the other side of the wall, but we couldn't make it. They said to us, "You look too funny."
That's crazy. And are there any specific songs that were inspired by this, trip to West Berlin?
A specific song, Chaos Monger, I would say, and well, there was, yeah, technocratic manipulator, um, tribal conviction, and it's all kind of inspired by it, and so obviously.
Okay, so do you have any last words for the interview?
Well, during this crazy times, just hang out, people. We're gonna go through this, and hopefully soon we'll be back on the road and travel the world again and meet with you and have a beer and cheers together. I miss you a lot. Miss this rock and roll thing a lot because I love you guys, and I hope we're gonna see us together again soon. Thank you guys.
Thank you for your time, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey people, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Agoraphobic News. Please like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel to help us grow. You can also support us on Patreon by becoming one of our patrons. And big shout out to our patron Season of Mist for supporting our work. So stay tuned for another interview and keep it metal.